the last 24 hours. Powered by Yiddish24, provided to you by The Click.
Good morning. Today is High Kislev Tufshin Paivov, Tuesday. And for those who want to know, it's November 25th, 2025. Parshas Vayatzai. My name is Gershy Schwarcz and I'm your host on Edgware. We have a lot to unpack, so stay with me. From floods in Israel, Lebanon and in Gaza, and also, I heard in Thailand, Maduro is in a tight spot with the Americans while they want to fire him, and the Cubans might fire at him, and China just sent him a birthday card, and Trump is trying to keep one nation at peace while another turns on the flames again. We have a lot to unpack, so, like I said, let's jump right to it. A major legal blow hit the Trump administration late yesterday. The criminal cases against former FBI Director James Comey and New York Attorney General Letitia James have been thrown out of court. The judge cancelled the charges because the prosecutor, Lindsay Halligan, was ruled to have been appointed illegally. The court said that since her appointment did not follow required legal process, every step she took in these cases is invalid. James Comey was accused of lying to lawmakers, making false statements, and obstructing Congress after he allegedly leaked private memos about President Trump to the press through a friend in 2017, and then denied it under oath. New York Attorney General Letitia James was accused of mortgage fraud over a home purchase in Virginia. Now, both cases were dismissed, not because a jury found them innocent and not because guilt was proven beyond a reasonable doubt, but only because the judge said the prosecutor's appointment was illegal. Now listen to this. This detail matters because headlines can give you the impression that the entire investigation was fake or a political witch hunt, and that the judge simply wanted a way to shut it down. These are the facts, so you can understand the full story and decide for yourself, right? The same thing happened. There was a woman who reported, she saw the news, the media, right away after October 7th and said that, and saw the news, the headlines, that Israel attacked Palestine. So, automatically, she understood from the 2 years ago until now that Israel attacked Palestine. And then she realized the full story. After reading it, she realized that the media misled her. So this is what happens when you read stories and you hear stories, you get misled. So I do my best, my team does the best work possibly. We sit hours researching the stories before we report them here to you. Yes, we can all make mistakes. I know there are sometimes little minor mistakes, but we do check them. And trust me, I check the story back and forth again. And remember that the two people we're talking about, Letitia James and Comey, both were on the political witch hunt, which we call a political witch hunt, against Trump. So it can go both ways. And like I said yesterday, politicians are always politicians. The Justice Department says it strongly disagrees with the ruling and plans to appeal in order to try to revive the charges. The White House says this is not the final word, quotes, and insists that Halligan was appointed correctly. Attorney General Pam Bondi promised an immediate appeal to try to have the charges reinstated again. Honor Jews are powered by Yiddish24, reaching nearly 60,000 Yidden every single day by phone and on this where you're watching from right now. And now our English edition is bringing that same clean kosher news to even more homes. No junk, no spin, just real news you can count on. Today's edition is brought to you by The Click and thelakewoodluach.com, which is a trusted source for minyanim, eateries, and local updates across Lakewood. Clean, filtered, straight to the point. Okay, now let's jump into the news. Heavy storms hit the region of Israel, causing flooding in several places. In Beirut, in Lebanon, also, next to the north of Israel, strong rain flooded streets and some homes and caused traffic delays. In Khan Yunis, in southern Gaza, heavy rain flooded tents where displaced Palestinians are living, and water and mud damaged their belongings. Well, they're living in tents, obviously, right? Near Hebron, flash floods caused part of the Israel security barrier between the Palestinian towns and nearby Israeli communities caused the border to collapse, the border wall. The damage raises new security and engineering questions. Well, let's continue to the news. Panic struck Chulon when a public bus crashed straight into a residential building. You can go to the next picture already. Yeah, an Egged bus veered off Bilu Street, Chov Bilu, and hit the corner of an apartment block, injuring 10 people. Magen David Adom, the rescue team, arrived quickly and treated all the victims for light injuries. Baruch Hashem, there were no deaths. Baruch Hashem, Hoidel Hashem Kitov, and the building did not collapse. Also another ness. V'hinei sulam mitzov arzo v'roishoy magia hashemayma. And only this Bucher wasn't dreaming. He literally went up the ladder in danger of going down. But B'chasdei Shemaim, firefighters saved this 15-year-old bacher who was stuck dangling on a construction crane 36 stories above the ground in Yerushalayim. The bacher admitted to climbing up at midnight to see the view of Yerushalayim from up high, but he became trapped on a tiny platform for 7 hours. He slipped and later, slipped off the crane and later fell onto this red hanging thingy. The official, show the picture again, a fire official, Ayal Cohen, called the boy's survival a miracle. And after crews scaled the crane, and they brought him down safely, Baruch Hashem. But yeah, I guess, from for those of you who remember the big Yom Atzeres that happened in not long ago, people also climbed cranes and stuff like that. It's not a joke. These things have to be looked at with care. Anyway, miraculous escape from murder happened this morning in the hills of Hebron. In the hills of Hebron, an Israeli driver was almost murdered when Palestinian attacked his car with large stones. The stones were smashed into the vehicle and could have killed him instantly. He managed to keep control of the car and escape the area. Security forces are now searching for the attackers. People who saw the car say it was a miracle that he survived without serious injury. Okay, the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation is officially ending all its operations in the Strip. The GHF, for those who know, the Americans, it was backed by the United States and Israel, say it has completed its mission and handing its works over to a new military coordination center that will manage the future aid, which is obviously part of the Trump's plan, the Trump 21-point plan. At the same time, the Red Cross has received the body of Israeli hostage from Hamas in central Gaza and is delivering it to the IDF forces right now for identification. I just got a beep, I think. Hold on, I'm joking. You remember the beepers? Reports from Gaza say that 2 mobile phones have exploded in people's hands in the past 2 days. Local users claim there is a malfunction in the mobile devices that recently entered Gaza through the human packages. There is no confirmed information about the cause. Many people compare this to be to the earlier incident that happened a year ago when beepers and radios exploded among Hezbollah members in Lebanon. For now, it is unconfirmed but wildly discussed over the news. We'll hear about it more, I guess, tomorrow. The German Chancellor Friedrich Merz will make his first official trip to Israel next month. He is expected to meet with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and visit the Yad Vashem Holocaust Memorial. Merz will be the first major European leader to visit Israel over a year. Germany also plans to restart weapons shipment to Israel that were paused during the war. Looks like they had a good class yesterday, I guess. Remember the news? If you go back yesterday, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Speaking of Germany, new crime numbers came out in Germany show a serious internal security problems. Police recorded 2,967 attacks on officers in 2024 alone, about 8 assaults every single day, and 804 injured officers. About 53% of the attackers were non-citizens, and many were drunk. Train stations are also becoming more dangerous in these areas. In Europe especially, but talking about Germany now, with more than 1,000 crimes reported every single day. 1,000 crimes. Knife attacks are rising, and over 2,200 violation offences in stations alone in Germany. Well, I guess the guy has to get his act together. And you know who else has to get his act together? You, as a business owner. If you have a business, you have 10 different applications. Okay, let's not, I don't want to exaggerate, not 10 different applications. You have 4 different applications, but each of those applications cost you a significant sum of money every single month. Have you noticed that if you compare the numbers to how much it's going to cost you to call Protobyte and design yourself one big system that's tied into your website, 347-354-1237, you will save yourself a lot more money than this number I just mentioned. I'm joking. 347-354-1237, that's Protobyte. Call them, mention on Edge, get a good deal. Okay. Trump targets the Muslim Brotherhood. We mentioned it yesterday on Edge for terror designation. As we mentioned, like I said, President Trump is moving the label the Muslim Brotherhood as an official terrorist organization. The Islamist group has branches in Egypt, Jordan, Lebanon, and other countries. Such a designation could freeze their financial assets, ban fundraising, and block their operations worldwide. It would also send a clear signal to governments that still will cooperate with the Brotherhood-linked parties that they also will be affected by these sanctions. President Trump said he plans to speak directly with Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. But US officials are worried about a deadly risk. They are worried that Cuban spies inside Venezuela will kill Maduro if he tries to step down. The belief is that Cuba would rather murder Maduro than let him make a deal with America. Heavy American air power is in the air now. Several B-52 Spirit bombers took off from Minot Air Force Base from the Minot, is it called Minot or Minot? Minot Air Force Base in North Dakota, and are flying long patrols near Venezuela's coast. While United States diplomats continue to talk, the military is also ready if needed. The Cartel of the Suns, which is the name for the official Venezuelan government, I guess, the regime, is now officially a terrorist organization, according to America. Like we announced not long ago that America is going to designate them as a terrorist organization. The US says this drug ring is run by Venezuelan military and Maduro himself. The new rule took effect on Monday. Maduro says the charge is a lie, but US can now treat his government like a terror group. It allows US to hit the group with the harshest possible sanctions and prosecute anyone who does business with them. China promises to protect Maduro. Chinese President Xi Jinping sent Maduro a birthday card with a message promising full support. He urged Maduro to stay firm against Americans, against American pressure, and said that China will stand by Venezuela politically and economically. See how that goes for Donald J. Trump. While Trump tries to put out fires here and there, all across the globe, and there is always another nation turning on flames again, like I began my segment today. Trump's Africa envoy, Masad Bolus, says that neither side in Sudan's I'm terrible with names. I'm so sorry. I do apologize, but whatever. I just. You want me to do better than that? Please let me know in the feedback and in the comments. And Sudan's civil war has accepted. I probably will, because I know what you're thinking now. Anyway, let's continue. Trump's African envoy, Masad, whatever his name is, says that neither side in Sudan's civil war has accepted the latest ceasefire plan from Washington. I guess one of Trump's nine peace plans, nine wars that he made peace with. Fighting and attacks continue, and millions of civilians remain at risk from dying as they did until now. Talking about dying on the fronts, on the battlefields, Russia and Ukraine are back on the table again. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said yesterday that the negotiators had just had the most productive and meaningful meeting in Geneva in Switzerland since the process began. The meeting in Geneva, with both US and Ukrainian officials reporting real progress on a peace deal. On the 28-point plan, I guess. Everyone is feeling optimistic, even though President Trump posted on Truth Social that Ukraine is showing zero gratitude for American efforts. However, leading to that, Zelensky's chief of staff, Andriy Yermak, you see I pronounced it well now, said that Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky, at least I can pronounce his name right, wants to meet with US President Donald J. Trump as soon as possible, possibly over Thanksgiving, which is coming very soon, to finalize a joint US-Ukrainian agreement on the terms for ending the war. Keir Starmer today said that they will, despite reports that Europeans are a little bit against the 28-point plan, or a lot against the 28-point plan, Keir Starmer from England said that there will be no new document. We will work with the document from President Trump, and we will work with it. We'll just, Macron from France said, also agreed that there will be some adjustments here and there, but they will agree to work with the Americans and obviously the Ukrainians and Russians on this 28-point plan. David Wanunu, we had a meeting with him the other day on Spin the Edge. For those who didn't watch it, you can go back and watch the episode. It's a great episode for those who want to know more about themselves, to find themselves in business. Yes, if you're a creative, you think you're not a businessman, well, watch that episode. And if you want to get some personal business coaching with David Wanunu, you can always call him on 201-446-5795. That's his personal cell. But if you don't, he has an office, and it's obviously always better to email the office. I think the number is, what's the office number? Can you give me the office number like this? I can give it to them. It's 845-414-8100. Again, the number is 845-414-8100. Let me write that down like this. We have it for the next one. Okay, 845. You can listen to it. You can also write it down with me together. 414-8100. And that's the office number. Or email him at david@thetrepperplan.com. Okay, there was a suicide attack in Pakistan. In the headquarters of Pakistan. Suicide bombers attacked the federal constabulary base and killed 3 officers and wounding more than 12 others. One bomber blew himself up at the main gate, while security forces shot and killed 2 more attackers who tried to enter the complex. Police say the guards prevented a much larger massacre by stopping the terrorists before they reached the area where about 150 officers were gathering. The militant group Jamaat ul I said before that I'm not that good with name pronouncing, has claimed responsibility for the attack. Major joint raid on ISIS in Somalia. U.S. Special Operations Troops and Puntland counter-terrorism forces have carried out a pre-dawn assault on ISIS Somalia hideouts in the Balad Valley. More than 100 American operatives arrived this morning by MH-60 helicopters with MQ-9 drones overhead and struck cave positions held by about 10 to 15 ISIS fighters in that region there, in that area. I can't pronounce those names, so I'm not going to bother. After several days of United States airstrikes, about 200 Puntland troops, or Puntland, is it Puntland or Puntland troops, moved on the ground. The fighting lasted between 2 and 4 hours inside fortified caves and included clashes with foreign ISIS fighters from Syria, Turkey, and Ethiopia. By sunrise, American and Puntland forces have pulled out with no reported American casualties. Early reports say a senior ISIS Somalia commander and several aides were killed, along with a total of 5 to 10 terrorists. Forces have also destroyed weapons and equipment that were used for gold mining operations that funded the terror groups. Puntland's leader say their operation they called it Operation Hilak, now controls almost all of the Kalmiskad Mountains and aims to eliminate ISIS Somalia by December 2025. Let's hope they are successful, because the more terror they eliminate, the more peace there is on the world, we hope. And Mashiach should be coming anyway very, very soon, because the whole world is on fire and floods and earthquakes. We'll hear about it more. Trump is heading to China in April. President Trump has announced on Truth Social that he has accepted an invitation from President Xi Jinping to visit China in April, as you can see on his post on Truth Social. The two leaders spoke by phone yesterday, and Trump says that he also agreed that Xi Jinping will come to the US for a state visit later next year. Trump called the conversation very good, like he always does, and says they are working on a major deal for American farmers and a crackdown on fentanyl. Xi Jinping told Trump that the return of Taiwan to China is a key part of the post-war international order. He said it's non-negotiable. Well, we all know what that means. Mike Lawler, talking about local politics in New York City. In New York, my state where I live. Mike Lawler backs Stefanik for governor. Elisa Stefanik. Congressman Mike Lawler officially endorsed Elisa Stefanik for governor yesterday. This means that the rumors that Lawler might run against her is not true. Well, we all heard that from him himself, so whatever. The point is, he's not running for governor, he's running for his seat in Congress. Senate report on sanctuary airports. A new bombshell report, I would say. A new United States Senate report accuses the Biden administration of pressuring, at least 11 airports here in the United States to shelter illegal aliens during his time as president and migrants inside airport facilities. The report says that federal agencies were directed to find terminals, hangars, or other airport buildings that could be used as shelters or processing centers. At some airports, hundreds of migrants slept inside secure areas, which led to police calls, arrests, and at least one death investigation. Lawmakers say this created security risks for travelers and staff, and they are demanding changes and more oversight. Talking about America being at risk, and, Europe has almost become, I'd say, one of the Arabic states, one of the Shihad states or Shihad countries. Mohammed Aburdah was riding horseback on Illinois with his people, calling and singing in Arabic in Hickory Hills, Illinois. A man named Mohammed Aburdah and several others rode horses down a main road and blocked traffic. Video of the event shows the group shouting in Arabic while cars wait in a long line and honking. The clip spread quickly online and sparked debate about public safety and political demonstrations in the streets. Local authorities are reviewing what happened and considering whether charges or fines are appropriate in this case. Let's talk about earthquakes in the world. The 37th time the big island of Hawaii is shaking again at Mount Kilauea. I pronounced it better last time. I think Kilauea, whatever. Erupts for the 37th in Hawaii for the 37th time this year. Ask the owners of the click. He's been there. Lava. I don't know if he's been to that volcano, but yeah. Lava is surging back in the surface at the volcano's summit, with scientists warning that a major fountain of fire is imminent or already underway. We're reporting it so we can show the video of this beautiful instance of Morabi Maseichu Hashem. How beautiful. Anyway, talking about Morabi Maseichu Hashem, Louvre. The Louvre. It's still going on, so if you want, you can watch it while I continue the news. I'll talk about Louvre in the meantime. The Louvre, which is the what's it called again? The heist that happened not long ago. For those who remember, they stole priceless jewels at the biggest museum, well, the most protected museum in France. More suspects were arrested, one at least today. French investigations have arrested more suspects in the jewel heist at the Louvre Museum in Paris. A total of 4 people are now in custody, including a man believed to be the 4th member of the robbery team. The thieves stole jewels worth about $100 million and in a fast attack last month, in broad daylight, and escaped on scooters after cutting into display cases. None of the historic jewels have been recovered yet. The case has raised serious questions about security at one of the most famous museums in the world, like we reported last month, or when it happened, that they found that they had help from the inside. You can go back and listen to the news. I think it's only in Yiddish because I haven't yet done the English news in that time. But the point is, the news has been widely reported. I'm sure you'll find it. Germany may try they're going to try and court a 100-year-old suspected Nazi guard. The suspected Nazi guard. German prosecutors are investigating a 100-year-old man who is suspected of having served as a Nazi camp guard during World War II. Officials say he may have taken part in executions at a prisoner of war camp in Hemmer in western Germany between late 1943 and 1944. The camp held more than 100,000, mostly Soviet prisoners, and 1,000 died there from abuse, hunger, and disease. The man could still face trial under German law, even if he's 100 years old, if investigators find enough evidence against him. And he is a Nazi, you see. He stayed alive until now, till he made it to 100 to find himself in trial. He covered himself with a blue book. You can show it again. He covered himself with a blue folder, trying people not to see his identity. But I guess his identity is going to be discovered very, very soon. In Thailand, a 65-year-old, and this is funny news, a 65-year-old woman was mistakenly declared dead, but woke up in her coffin minutes before her funeral. She had slipped into a hyperglycemic, thank you. She had slipped into a hyperglycemic coma due to dangerously low blood sugar. Understand this? So in other words, sometimes people wake up in their graves. It's not a news story, I guess. It's not a surprise. Arrive Express. If you want to call a taxi in Muncie in the region here, you always call 845-62-1111 or 845-254-1111. YS Capital Group is always here for your if you want to borrow money to buy a building. I know you have an eye on a building, you want to make some money, and obviously, you got to marry your children at one point, and you got to save some money, so here is a good investment, and here is a place you can get a loan, direct lending, fast approvals, no closing costs. 718-831-2168. That's YS Capital Group. If you're hungry and you're Muncie in the area, you can always stop after a minute from exit 14 in the marketplace. Shawarma Delight is there to delight you with a great shawarma and other great foods. Obviously, they're open till late every single day, about 10:30, and also they're open on Thursday night with chicken or other Thursday night Lyle Shishi style food, delicious food, kosher, delicious, yummy, and all the good things. Call them. You can go visit sdny.store or call them at 845-272-0011. Don't forget to mention on Edge. Now, let's finish with historic facts of the day, brought to you by The Click. Today's Yortzeit is the Yortzeit of the Marsho, Rav Shmuel Eliezer Eidlis. Zeicher Tzaddik HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Rav Shmuel Eliezer ben Yehida Eidlis, Zeicher Tzaddik HaKadosh Baruch Hu, passed away on Kislev, on High Kislev in year 5392 to the year, the Yiddish date. I couldn't figure out what that is. Sorry, I'm not going to make the cheshbon. Now, the Marsho was born in Krakow and became one of the great commentators, Mefarshim on Shas. He was a descendant of Rav Yehuda Chussid and was also connected to the family of the Maharal from Prague. His wealthy mother-in-law, Rebbetzin Idol Lifshitz, supported his learning and his yeshiva, and in gratitude he added her name Idolus to his own. He served as a Rosh Yeshiva in several cities and wrote Chassidische didn't exist then. He wrote Chedisha Haluchas and Chedisha Agudus, which are still basic Sfurim in Buta Medrushim around the world today. People learn them all over the world. The Marshu, we all know the Marshu. So in his chis, maybe a message for all of us, that the Torah should be a Megan and Matzel on all of us and bring Mashiach to Tiny. And with that, my friends, we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining me, and thank you so much for being here. If you have any feedback, you can always call me on 845-671-1775. Thank you.
daily report of the news of the last 24 hours. Powered by Yiddish24, provided to you by The Click.